What's happening, guys? And thanks for tuning in. We've got a little review today of this bad boy. This is the SCUF One gaming controller, and it's been provided to me by Infused, Team Infused, and SCUF Gaming. And mine comes in this neat little carry case, which is really nice, especially if you go into LAN events. But we're going to take a quick look at the controller. I've had my hands on this probably for about a month now. I've tried it on my Xbox One, which is what it's designed for, and I've tried it on my PC as well with some racing games, some fighting games, and so I've got a pretty good idea of how it works, really, and we're going to go over some of the features. So here it is. This is the Infused edition, and it's all white. It's pretty much blacked out everywhere. The buttons are all blacked out as well, and some of the differences compared to a normal controller are quite apparent when you start using it. First of all, the analog sticks, which obviously here and here on the Xbox One, you can completely customize the types that you want. Okay, you can have 3 different lengths. You can have small, medium, and large to start with. And then even the design of the actual dome you can change as well. So you can have concave or you can have domes. So this one's got one of each. So this one's concave, but the other analog stick is actually domed. And you can customize those exactly how you want them. So depending on if you want them all, you might want them both long, you might want them both domed. It's entirely up to you. That's what's good about the SCUF controllers, is you can have it exactly how you feel comfortable. What you'll also notice about the back is a couple of things. So if I show you the back there, and there'll be a bigger image in the top right hand corner for you, you'll see some paddles. Now, these here are actually buttons. Now, they're not extra buttons because you can't just add extra buttons onto the Xbox One. What they do is they replicate the buttons here. Okay, you can have up to 4 paddles on the back, and each one will correspond to a different face button. This one's only got 2 because, quite frankly, I'd never need 4 of them. But it means that, let's say you're playing Call of Duty and you've got one of the buttons bound to reload or crouch or something like that. Instead of you having to take your hand off the analog sticks, you won't have to anymore, because you can just press the buttons triggers on the back, and that's going to enable you to be faster, shall we say. So that's pretty cool. You can have 4 of the triggers, if you like, on the back. So let's say this one's got 2, and you can set them up when you order the controller as to which buttons you want them to relate to. So that's pretty nice. Now, the triggers can come off as well. Now, if I retake the battery component off, you can see the buttons here. That's essentially what they are. They're little buttons, and the triggers, or paddles if you want to call them, they just attach to the buttons, and you press them in and it presses in the button, which is pretty cool. So if I reattach this here now, what you'll also notice on the back is the SCUF, if you like. It's hard to explain. It's quite leathery but rubbery at the same time. It's not a plastic, but they're grips on the back. And again, these are extra. You don't have to have them. You might not want them. But if you do want them, it's like a leathery, rubbery grip. And if you're having long gaming sessions, then it's definitely... Like, I've played with this controller for quite a while in one go, and sometimes you'll know that your hands get a little bit slippery after a while. Well, these definitely make sure that ain't going to happen. And if it does, it's gamer grip. I'm never going to use that. Ever. So that's pretty cool. So you've got extra grips. You've got the analog sticks, which you can basically have however you want them. So that's pretty cool. The next thing that you will notice on the SCUF controller, and again, you don't have to have this as extra, and I would only really recommend this for FPS games. If you're going to be playing racing games, you don't really want it, or you want to take it off, which you can do. You have trigger stops. Now, this is the normal trigger on the left. I've purposely not changed this trigger. And no, I have changed it. I lie, I have changed it. So this is a trigger stop. If you notice there, the trigger is barely going down at all. Okay? Barely going down. That's because there's a trigger stop in there. And what that means is there's essentially a piece of metal in here that's stopping the trigger from deploying all the way. Now what this means is if you're playing an FPS game like Call of Duty and you want to go full auto for argument's sake, or you want to tap, you're shooting by going all the way to the bottom with your trigger. What this is doing is making sure that you can shoot by only deploying it half the distance. And that essentially means that you're faster to fire. Again, you can adjust these. There's actually a little hole right here that you can adjust, and you can adjust it so that it's back to normal or that it's even shorter, depending on how you want to play. And again, you could have one trigger stop on one side and not one on the other. It's entirely up to you. But they're quite useful to have. But again, everything on this controller is custom. You could have no trigger stops, no grips, and you just want the paddles. If that's what you want, then that's what you can do. Now, there's two ways of going about getting a SCUF controller. One of them is buying one off the website. Just buy one, pick what you want, customize it. You can buy a professional team edition, the Infused edition. There's lots of COD teams like Envy, Optic. They've got all sorts of editions on the website as well. Or what you can also do, if you want to save a little bit of money, you can send in your own controller for them to modify. So if you've got an Xbox One controller right now, you can send that one into them. And obviously you're going to pay less because you're not paying for another controller, and you can have them modify that one for you, and you can pick what you want. So that's probably the cheapest way of doing it. So that's pretty cool. Now on to the bread and butter. Is it worth the money? Well, I can't tell you that. I honestly can't tell you to go out and buy one of these. They're an expensive controller. I mean, it's well over £100 in the UK. I can't tell you you should go out and buy one of these. Now, I've been given this by Infused to review and by SCUF, but it's a great controller. It is. I'm not gonna lie to you. Having the paddles, it really does help. The grips really help. The trigger stop, it 100% helps. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna think it's worthwhile. If you think it's worth spending £100 on, then obviously go and do it, because the controller itself is very well made. The grips are interchangeable. You can take those off. You can put them back on. The triggers can be modified. You can even modify the analog sticks after the fact as well. So in terms of value for money, that's up to you. And it depends how much use you're going to get out of it. If you only play Xbox a couple of times a month, then no, it's probably not worth it. But if you're a die-hard Call of Duty player and you want that, a little bit of extra advantage, then yeah, maybe it is. And overall, I've been really, really happy with it. The Infused edition, I like the colours on it, and it's really, really cool. And you get an extra USB cable with it as well, which is particularly long. If I show you this cable here, it's a lovely, lovely braided cable. I mean, it's quite frankly, it's ridiculously long. So you can plug that in as well to your console, and it's really, really long if you run out of battery. So overall, I'm happy with the SCUF controller. I'll leave a link to Team Infused in the description below, because what you might be able to get your hands on is very soon they're going to be doing a giveaway, hopefully, for this. This is a PlayStation 4 SCUF controller. Again, same jazz. It's got the two paddles on the back, and this one's not an Infused design one, but this one's really, really cool. It's got blue grips at the back. This one, blue grips at the back, and it's got a camo blue design. And I believe they're going to be doing a giveaway for this, so keep a lookout on their Twitter and also their website, and you might be able to win one of these very soon. So overall, I hope this has helped. This is mainly a console review, really. I mean, not many people on PC are going to be buying a SCUF controller. It's going to be mainly for PC, for console users. But quite frankly, I am not against playing on console. I play a lot of console games. Just because I have a PC doesn't mean I'm not going to play console games. And some of the console games are really, really good, so I'm still going to play them. And overall, I'll definitely be using this SCUF controller. It is an improvement over the default one. So hopefully that's been useful to you console guys who are thinking or maybe looking at something like this. And as always, I'll see you next time.